All right, come join Kyle, John, and David as they go through what's on the playlist. Find out what's everyone's favourite at Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. We have a few segments, to be honest. In and out points, no celebs and the gossip. Back in time where we're talking about the big M's, coming attractions, what the cue. Quick checks, who'll be laughing? You abundantly. Welcome to Dual Redundancy.
Yes, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all the latest in television, entertainment news with too many hosts with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is...
John Berger. The third one is...
Kyle Bridger. I would say that I am the big game to John's commercial breaks to Dave's halftime show. And some would say you're the main attraction sometimes, Dave.
Well, yeah, I was the halftime show... Not getting paid. I don't believe the halftime performers get paid.
They do not. It's all about that exposure, baby.
And that's all it is here. It's all about the exposure. We're doing this from the goodness of our hearts. Meanwhile, I don't know who it was. Was it John that is the commercials? He's getting $4.7 million a spot or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's $4.7 million.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we'll be breaking all that down when we talk about the Super Bowl later tonight. The commercials, the halftime show, everything that happened last night. We may even bring up some sports when we talk about the surprise. But first, we have this segment. We have a lot to catch up on in entertainment news, and it's this segment I can't remember the name of. John, what is it?
In and out points.
In or the out. In or the out. In, out, in, out, in, out.
All right, yes, it is in and out points. We're off last week. We have a lot of stories to catch up on. A lot of things happen. A lot of things I have rants about. I think tonight's going to be a big David rant episode.
Oh, you're not the only one.
So buckle up. Let's start off with some box office, some movie theater news. You know, this February box office, we're in the full swing. You know, we got hits like 80 for Brady out there. We got the upcoming Ant-Man Quantumanium. But the next time you're heading to an AMC, you may be paying a bit more depending on where you sit. It's a running theme on this pod. We love to discuss how AMC Theaters is attempting to make money any way they can, whether it's the Zoom conference calls on the big screen, popcorn sales in malls, or even an AMC credit card. But this time, they have something called Sightline at AMC. And this ticketing price initiative is based on your seat location in the auditorium. Similar to music concerts or sporting events, moviegoers can have the option to pay more or less depending on where they choose to sit in the venue. Front row seats will be available for a lower price, while middle seats will be a higher price. This started in New York, Chicago, and Kansas City this past weekend and will be everywhere domestically by the end of the year. Okay, let's start off with John. Are you willing to pay an extra few dollars to get that prime middle seat?
Oh man, they're already like raking us over the coals, and now they want another $1. What are movie tickets? $22 now? Like, it's insane.
Something. Yeah.
They used to be like $7.
It's like $30 for IMAX. So
yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. I don't know. This doesn't make me want to go to the movies anymore. It makes me want to go a little bit less, to be honest, about $1 worth less. So, good job, AMC. You're continuing to drive your customers away and then wondering why you don't have customers.
Yeah. Well, John, you could always, get a seat in the front row and save a buck.
Yeah.
And then you have to go to a chiropractor the next day to fix it.
I think I've only sat in the front row once, and it's definitely one of those seats where you're like, maybe I don't need to see a movie today.
Yeah. It's like especially anything actiony in the front row, you might as well give up. It's just blurring. It's so over the top. Yeah, it's just so much. Yeah, I didn't look at the price difference on this. That is really annoying. And I just don't know how you enforce something like this. How are you gonna get workers to enforce middle seats? Are they gonna be coming around in the middle of the?
Yeah.
I guess the enforcement is the people that are coming into that middle seat, but like it's just so wild to me. It's crazy.
Already people, like when you go to these assigned seats, people are in your seats already. Yes. And now you have this on top of it. People are going to buy that front row seat save a buck or
Yep.
two, and then sit wherever the hell they want. And like then you're gonna have the poor, teenage workers at the movie theater having to be these mediators between these groups of people. That's my seat. No, that's my seat. Like,
Yeah.
oh wait, and it's just gonna be a mess, and it's just such a terrible idea because this is not the same as a sporting event and concert. That's what they compared it to, but it's not that. Like, there isn't much of a difference between the seats, at a movie theater. One seat over, a foot over here. But there's certainly a difference at stadiums. You could be in like the nosebleeds miles away, or you could be front row center and have like the musical artist be spitting at you how close you are.
What they should do is give you that discount on the front 2 rows and not touch the rest of it. And maybe you'd get more people filling in those seats, and you'd have more butts in the theater, and you'd maybe make some more money on concessions. But yeah, this is insane. Except for those first 2 rows, there's really not, like you said, there's not really a difference. I mean, it's the angle your head is at. Really, if you're pointing slightly left, slightly right, slightly up, down, like that's it. There's no real difference. And
it's. I feel like it's just a way of for a corporation to create like class problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there really is not much of a. It just makes people angry about not being able to get the middle seat and like, oh, I wish I could have that middle seat. It's so
also
silly.
Why is one pair of seats but not paired seats in the second row discounted?
One looks like it's an ADA seat.
Yeah, but look next to it because there's another one that's white. There's one that's blue and one that's
weird.
white. So you're saying that one pair, but they're not paired because they're not in a set of 2. Half of it is discounted.
Yeah,
I don't know. Just pointing it out.
It makes no sense. Like, because also it's like, okay, in the Titanic image here, that second row, the one all the way to the left and all the way to the right really is just as good as the seats like 4 rows back. Like the coloring system that they made here just doesn't make sense at all. Like, it's very, very arbitrary. Because, like, okay, you're in the middle here. Okay, why are seats 10 through 15 extra pricing, but seats 9 and 16 aren't?
Yeah.
It's literally like 6 inches. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's silly.
And worse, they don't let you buy like 3s sometimes or like individual seats. How are you supposed to have 3 people if there's not the number of seats? You're gonna have to buy 2 and hope someone else buys the one that you want. Like, you know what I mean? How they do that where they break things up where you can't buy certain seat combos. It's just like,
I'll have the 2 better seats and we'll charge Kyle the 3rd extra one.
Kyle can sit in the front row.
Of course.
But yeah, it's just a mess. Like, and you notice how like, Regal or Alamo and none of these other people are like, oh, good idea. Oh, we're gonna do this. Like, they're like, AMC, you can have the heat on this because right now people are not happy.
Even though it is $1, it seems like the stupidest.
Yeah.
Stupidest thing.
And you can save that $1 if you sign up for AMC A-List. And it's like, okay, like, come on. It's just any way that they can make money at this point, they're trying to squeeze it out of us. But
yeah, I mean, I think I keep saying this, the writing is on the wall with movie theaters. And what I think is funny is like, it goes against that like Nicole Kidman ad or whatever, where it's like, we're all here together to experience. And it's like, well, you created a class system to try and be greedy money grubbers, to get your extra $1 a seat. It's so silly.
Yeah, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Well, it feels good here, but it's going to feel even more over here, a little less over here, more expensive over here. Like, come on.
Your wallet feels emptier in a seat like this, yeah.
But all right, yeah, so they're trying to make more money. And of course, our next in and out point, that group is trying to make more money too, and that's Netflix. At the very end of January, Netflix released plans on how to curb password sharing. And to put it mildly, people are not happy. When Netflix accounts, they can be shareable, but only within one household. And to make sure your devices are associated with that primary location, Netflix is asking users to connect to the Wi-Fi at the primary location, open the app or the website, watch something at least once every 31 days. So once a month, You got to be on that Wi-Fi network. You got to open the app. You got to watch something on every device to make sure you can still log in within the next month. There's a lot of issues with this, but I know John has a lot to say. John, what do you think about this?
Do they forget that they build Netflix into like TVs? Like, are you gonna lug your 72-inch flat screen to your parents to sign in and watch Netflix on the floor in your living room, in their living room, so that you can bring it back to your house for another month? Like, this is nuts. This is insane. Restrict the device. Say you have 4 IPs, whatever it is. If it changes, you got to go re-register with us and just leave it at that. That allows you to have all the devices. And, you know, all right, maybe you can't sign in on your phone to watch, but at least you can still use your phone at home or your device or whatever. You know, like, I don't know. This is insane. And if you know how to set up a VPN where you can tunnel the data from that home location, you could do this anywhere. So it's not even like it's 100% foolproof. If you spend an hour to figure it out, you can bypass it. So it's like, why Netflix? What is this gain besides making people pay more?
Yeah, and then you also have like some folks commenting how, you know, they travel for long trips, or, you know, for seasons. You know, some people go away in the winter, or, you know, somewhere else for the summer. Others mention, you know, some areas have bad Wi-Fi, and some just use exclusively like 5G or whatever their phone's data is instead of using Wi-Fi. And then you have like students who may be, you know, on their parents', you know, Netflix account, whether they're away, you know, for you know, summer trips or camp, or even just the school year with college or a boarding school. There's so many issues with this scenario. But Kyle, what do you think about this before we dive into what else Netflix had to say?
Yeah, I mean, all the points that you brought up were ones that I was thinking about. Traveling. I heard people with some of these aren't going to be allowed to like download or be able to watch on the go with that way because of stuff like this. So this is a big problem, and I don't know if Netflix is betting on people signing up for their own streaming service, and if they think that that's going to happen, I think they're in for a rude awakening, and I don't think it's going to look good for Netflix in the long run. Their content is just not there anymore.
That's my guess, is they want to drive people who are, you know, people like me and you guys probably, who are using family accounts to get our own accounts, and it's just like, well, I was talking in our group chat with my family. We're just gonna get rid of it if it happens. Like, there's no, it's not worth it. It's not worth it, and especially it's 2023. I hate to say it, you want to watch it, you'll find a way to watch it, whether you're paying or not. Yeah. Like, you know, I don't want to advocate for doing anything illegal, but it's not hard. It's very easy. So it's tough. And, you know, like I read a post about a guy who runs a restaurant, and he puts Netflix on in his restaurant while he's prepping for the morning. For hours and hours, he's doing all the prep work to run his restaurant, watching Netflix on. That's why I mentioned the TV before. He's talking to the Netflix rep about how he has to bring his TV home with him every month. Like, that's not a service that I would want to pay money for. That sounds like something I would do to avoid paying money, to be honest. Like,
to get around the system. And like they have like this whole list of their plans throughout the thing, and I think like while they want probably people to make whole new accounts so they get like the full $15 or $20 a month or whatever it is now, there's also I think a thing with this where it's like, oh, you can add an extra user to your account for a fee of, you know, whatever, $4 or $5 a month, but those are only eligible for the standard and premium.
You have to pay
plans.
More.
You can't do that for the basic ones. Yeah. And then there's the number of, you know, the number of streams, obviously, the number of profiles you can have set up, the downloaded devices, as like Kyle mentioned as well, all depending on which plan you end up getting. But all this being said, don't worry, guys. This was all an accident. And they removed these accidentally posted guidelines, coincidentally, very soon after the blowback of these posted guidelines. For a brief time yesterday, a help center article containing information that is only applicable to Chile, Costa Rica, and Peru went live in other countries. We have since updated it. So yeah, these aren't the rules for the U.S., supposedly.
Yeah, I saw that. But, it's always with these companies. I mean, and the Oscars are doing that. Let's just float something out, see the response, and then go from there. It's
like,
how could they not? They must have known that there would be some kind of backlash to this.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have sold
Yeah.
it, or soft landing of these rules.
I think they're trying to temper, how when you're cooking with eggs and you got to slowly mix in the hot stuff so you don't, you know what I mean? I think that's exactly what they're doing, is they're trying to sneak little bits and pieces in here so that when they launch it, not everyone goes, I'm canceling.
Yeah. And maybe it's 31, but what if it's actually 45 days? It's
Yeah.
doesn't that sound better now?
Yeah, get out of here.
But let's see another quote. Quote, we've always made it easy for people who live together to share their Netflix account with features like profiles and multiple streams. While these have been hugely popular, they've also created confusion about when and how you can share Netflix. Today, over 100 million households are sharing accounts, impacting our ability to invest in great new TV and films. So
what I'm getting from that is we're not getting money from the separate households, and that's impacting our ability to create more shows because we're not getting this extra profit money.
And then spend $200 million on a film that nobody will ever care about after 2 weeks.
Or just marketing, or handing out $500 million deals to people. This is it's just insane.
Super Bowl commercials.
Yeah,
Because I don't want to be so negative here, because I hear them. They are a business. They are trying to make money. And if people are sharing accounts, they're trying to get the money for the content that they're providing. I get all that. But they say here, we've always made it, easy for people who live together to share accounts. There's been some confusion about when and where you can share Netflix. I wonder whose fault this is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe on March 10th here, 2017, when they posted, "Love is sharing a password" on Twitter.
Yeah.
The call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
It's oh my God. But
also, I love the language of it. We've always made it easy for those sharing a household or whatever to share. And the reality is
the most basic thing. Yeah.
Yeah. If people want to bundle their stuff together, or if we want to share with multiple people and we're paying for the service, why shouldn't we be able to get the service?
Says 6 users. Let us use 6 users.
Yeah.
Well, so right now, the rules that we mentioned above are now in effect for countries like Canada, New Zealand, Portugal, Spain. There's no word yet on when this will affect the U.S. and, if there's any changes to that. But before we jump out of Netflix, I want to talk about this one story. This would be perfect for What the Q, but maybe they need some of this money from all these password, sharing issues for their CGI budget. Because did any of you guys see You People?
I didn't. I heard about it, but I haven't seen it yet.
The film that I'm sure was not cheap when it has Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I'm sure it wasn't cheap. But they also looks like they had to spend some money on CGI for a kiss. We have a quote from comedian Andrew Schultz, who plays Jonah Hill's character cousin in the film, and he discussed the film's big climactic ending. Spoiler alert! But the final big wedding kiss we see at the end between Jonah Hill and his love interest here. Play the clip.
No, Joe's funny. There's a hilarious thing. I don't know if I should share this, but the final scene, they don't even kiss. It's CGI.
Get the fuck out
Swear
of
to
here.
God, son.
How's it CGI?
I'm there. I'm watching the wedding, and I see them go in for the kiss, and their faces stop this far. And I'm like, I wonder how they're going to play that in the movie. Oh, they're probably just going to cut right there. But the movie, you could see their faces come close, and then you could see their faces morph a little bit into a fake kiss.
Salute to Lauren London making Dr. Umar proud in real life.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
He might have got pissed off in the movie. Dr. Umar might have got pissed off at the movie, but in real life, Lauren
Dr.
held
Umar's
it
like,
down.
you people got it right.
That's funny.
So faces stop, but then they kiss in the final film, and it looks a little weird.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
I like the physics simulation on the pedals hitting their faces.
Yeah.
It looks so bad.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, we gotta cover up the morph.
Why? Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand it. Unless there was some like COVID health reason on the day, then
Or
again, it's like
some
you guys shouldn't be shooting if there's a COVID
Yeah.
issue on the
They
day.
didn't pay him enough to kiss, maybe.
Yeah, or maybe there's like something with the acting choices, or like the actors didn't want to engage in
Yes.
that. I don't know.
It is wild to be in a rom-com and then the big final kiss at the end. Nope, not happening. But
Yeah.
we'll CGI
Yeah, that
it. We'll
is
fix it in
wild.
post.
When you watch it like that and you know that it's there, it's so obvious and weird. Yeah. I don't know. It could be an actor's choice. Just like didn't Penn Badgley say he didn't want to do any more sex scenes
That
in
is true,
You
yeah.
and all this stuff. So could be a choice. Maybe they didn't want to do it. But
I'm just interested for the rest of the film, like, you know, because if they're dating throughout the film, if there was any other kiss throughout the film, like I haven't seen it, so I don't know if there was any other.
Oh, right. It's supposed to be a wedding, right?
Yeah, this is like
you
a
can't
wedding.
say their first kiss is at their wedding.
Yeah,
That's a little strange.
But yeah, so I'm thinking, you know, unless they didn't shoot any other romantic scenes throughout the entire movie, like you would think there would be another romantic scene somewhere in the rom-com. But I don't know.
Oh, man, that's wild. Is CGI getting worse or the TV's getting better? It's
I think CGI. I mean, we'll get to when we talk about the movie trailers in the Super Bowl commercials. Some of these are just not looking good, and it's just this is because there's so much that needs to be done, and these guys are just overworked.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Threefold. One, TVs are getting a lot better. You can see stuff easier. Two, people aren't being paid as much. They're not putting in as much
that's
effort.
True.
And three, we've been not trained to see CGI, but we're learning. We understand what's real and what's not to a certain degree. And with how high def the TVs are, your brain sees things that doesn't make sense, and that makes it, it makes things weird. Yeah. So I think it's a threefold.
I mean, I've seen one of those like ones where they put the head swap or whatever look better than something like this, and that's just via like a crazy app. I know everything's got its own
and there's this whole new feature that I was listening to a podcast about 80 to 90% of like A-list like stars now in movies have it like in their rider pretty much to like kind of de-age their faces. And it's not like something like The Irishman where it's like 30, 40 years. It's just like 5 years, blemishes. 10 years.
It's like the cleanup filter that people use for Instagram. Yeah.
So
it's crazy. And you can put that in a rider?
I mean, if you're a certain level, it's like, okay, in my contract, X amount, 2 million or 3 million is dedicated to this, CGI post blemish remover.
A bag of only yellow Skittles. Like,
I know. I mean, I've heard of like you could put stuff in a rider, but I know that like some stuff they're just like, we're not gonna. We're not gonna.
I guess in their contract is a better word. It depends on like the level of who you are. A list, A plus list kind of person. But
that's crazy.
I also think it has to go with companies wanting to push stuff out on a time frame, whereas that guy doing it on his computer can spend 3 months letting it process in his garage before he really, like that really helps, is having just the raw time to let machines do machine stuff,
All right. Well, Netflix isn't the only streamer announcing something and then changing their minds. Initially, the plan for Discovery and Warner Media, that merger between those two big giants, was for Discovery Plus and HBO Max to be merged into one app. That was the initial plan. But now Warner Brothers Discovery is leaving Discovery Plus as a separate, cheaper app, but still having HBO Max merge with Discovery Plus in another app. So there's two apps. Discovery Plus is on both of them, but the one with HBO Max, that one is merging. We're keeping the Discovery Plus smaller by itself. Supposedly, per the Wall Street Journal's sources, the decision is to keep Discovery Plus as an effort to avoid risking losing a significant chunk of the app's 20 million subscribers who might not want to pay the higher price to access that content. Because Discovery Plus is like $4.99, $6.99, depending on the plan you're getting. HBO Max is obviously, I think, like at this point, $15, $16. a month. So they're trying to keep the Discovery Plus folks happy. Kyle, what do you think about this?
I mean, I'm not around people that would, want the Discovery Plus content over the HBO Max content. I would feel like if you're into the one, you would most certainly want HBO Max with it, but I don't know. Maybe I don't even know what's on Discovery Plus. Is it like 90 Day?
I think so. It is. I think it's a lot of those reality shows, unscripted.
So maybe some people would just want that. I can't imagine that they wouldn't want the HBO Max content as well, because there's a lot of good stuff, and even some even some of that content on HBO Max. So I don't know. It seems silly to me, but
yeah, to me,
I don't know. I can't believe that Discovery Plus is the drivers
bingo
of this.
I don't understand still how they are in the driver's seat of this merger. I don't understand it, because also with this here, okay, the sources are saying, oh, we don't want to piss off the Discovery Plus folks and having them pay a bit more for their content. That's great for them. But you know what? You know what's gonna suck? It's gonna suck for us, because this HBO Max app, you might be thinking, oh great, we're gonna get the Discovery Plus content. That's a win, Dave. That's awesome. Just more content. You don't have to watch it. It's there, but it's a win. More stuff. Wrong, because they're going to charge us more because they're adding more content. So they're gonna piss us off because we're gonna have to now pay $20 instead of $15.99 or whatever it is for HBO Max Discovery Plus mega app.
What kind of dirt does Discovery have on HBO that they can just strong arm them into this deal? Whose browser history do they have saved, ready to show the world, that anybody at HBO Max is saying yeah, that's a good idea. Well, you keep your app, just join us too. How?
Because also, okay, this Discovery Plus app, I mean, I don't know if these are domestic or international numbers here, but in the source it says 20 million subscribers, Discovery Plus. Okay, 20 million. Let's just say, that's global. I don't know if it's true, but it's global. HBO Max has 70 million global subscribers. You don't want to piss them off?
And what app
70 is bigger than 20, right?
What app doesn't have tiers anymore? Why not make one app, convert one to one tier, one to the other, and say, hey, you're at this tier, we'll give you a discount if you want to bump up for the first year. Everyone else is doing it. Why complicate things so much more for everyone? And then how many people are paying for HBO Max and Discovery Plus who are now going to be paying for HBO Max and Discovery Plus on the side until they realize they have it twice? I don't know.
It must be all the doctor's offices and dentist's office you go in where it's just running on the TV. It's got to be all those. It's got to be.
It's baffling to me, because we don't know the name of the new service, but we mentioned it before, how they might get rid of the HBO part of HBO Max, and that is just the dumbest decision I've ever heard, because Max doesn't mean anything. Discovery Plus to me doesn't mean anything, but HBO means something.
Maybe this is just a really big April Fool's joke, and we're building up to it.
Yeah, it's like a lot of these Super Bowl ads, all just these fake, news stories to get you hyped up for a commercial. But they're playing the long game if they are. Speaking of mergers, we've been theorizing it for a while, but it's finally happening. Showtime is merging into Paramount Plus, and they have a name. I want to make sure first, John, you're sitting down, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Kyle, do you need anything? You need maybe some water or something? Are you okay? You good?
Yeah.
Okay. The new name for the Showtime Paramount Plus merger, this one super service here, is Paramount Plus with Showtime.
They did it right. Discovery, HBO, look.
Well, did they go? Because here's my bone to pick with them. You have the plus in there. You couldn't just make it Paramount Plus Showtime. Already that's clunky, that's long. If you don't want to combine them into two, but Paramount Plus with Showtime.
Yeah.
Just Paramount Plus Showtime. Paramount Plus Showtime. Yeah. I don't know. But they didn't ask me.
Not getting paid the big bucks to think of that.
No. It's just, all right. Because for a while now, they've had like Showtime as that extra thing that like John was talking about, where it's like, oh, you have Paramount Plus, you want Showtime, you can add that in. Now it's going to be all into one app. I believe Showtime will still have a linear channel for programming, for if you're still, have cable and you want the add-on, but it's the Paramount Plus with Showtime.
So yeah, and I just have to say, HBO Max should do HBO Max minus Discovery Plus, and really, we'll turn this into a math equation. Each name rebrand. But this brings up. I mean, even my dad was wondering. He's like, I get Showtime, but through my cable, does that mean I get Paramount Plus now? He's very confused. And he's like, because I wouldn't mind the content, but like I don't know what I get now. So is Showtime still its separate entity? And you would have, because Paramount Plus is its own streaming service, and it's just happening to merge with here. But I think if you have Showtime outside, you don't get the Paramount Plus part.
Yeah. Yes, I believe that is correct. So yeah, Showtime, you can still watch it on TV, the old-fashioned way on whatever, Sunday nights, 9:00, you can watch it. But I think the Showtime like Anywhere app or Showtime Go or whatever, Showtime Now, I don't know what it was called.
Yeah.
That is probably being folded into Paramount Plus. And I don't know how it works now. Like if you have the cable version, if you automatically get this, or you have to pay an extra thing to get this.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyways, if you're looking forward to watching some recent Showtime series on Paramount Plus with Showtime, not so fast. Not so fast, because recent series like American Gigolo starring John Bernthal, Let the Right One In, which just came out in the last few months, they were both canceled after one season, and they're going to be removed from the service along with the Jim Carrey series Kidding. The first season of anthology series Super Pumped, which dropped last year with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Becoming a God in Central Florida with Kirsten Dunst is also gone, along with American Rust, The End, Wakefield. All these shows from Showtime are leaving. Meanwhile, over at Paramount Plus, they're also going to be removing series like Coyote, No Activity, Guilty Party, The Real World Homecoming, Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone series. All these shows are being taken off of the service.
For what reason?
They're pulling our friends at HBO. They saw their playbook and they're like,
tax write-offs, yes.
Let's do that too. So we were theorizing for a while, like, why is HBO Max doing what they were doing with shows like Westworld and The Nevers? Like, why are they taking just stuff away and making it disappear?
Yeah.
Well, it seems like, and we don't know if the Showtime is going to be doing this, but HBO Max announced also in the last week that these shows that they removed, they're going to be sold to third-party streamers like Tubi, Roku. So you can watch the content there. For some of them for free, you can watch them for free, but with ads. It's that whole kind of fast channel thing, like Pluto TV. You can watch it pretty much a cable version of it, or maybe it'll be TVMA depending on like when it's airing and how you're accessing it. But for the most part, it's being sold so it can make money on third-party streamers.
Dude, this is getting to the point where streaming is so much worse than cable. Like, I want to be able to watch the shows that I'm interested in, and I mean, Westworld I stopped watching, but if I ever wanted to go back, I mean, this stinks. So they're using their content to make more money through the licensing, and then this is annoying. I wouldn't be surprised if we find out in 5 years, Tubi and HBO Max are like somehow merging. All these things merge, and they and they're all making money. You think you have a choice. Cycles. Yeah, you think you have a choice. You're like, oh, I'm going to get Tubi instead. And it's like, oh, well, actually, you don't have a choice. Tubi is now with Discovery Plus and HBO Max. And it's this, dude, this stinks.
This
really stinks.
And they announced today, last minute, a few hours ago, that Arrested Development that was on Netflix. Netflix produced 2 seasons of this show, seasons 4 and 5. That is also going away. It's not going to be on Netflix after March 15th.
So it's not a Netflix original anymore?
No. So those first 3 seasons that were, airing on Fox, I think you can see those on Hulu or whatever, but seasons 4 and 5 you could only have seen on Netflix. Well, what does this mean now? Like, who has the rights to this? Will this move to another streamer? Will they have to pay Netflix for seasons 4 and 5? Like, you made 2 seasons of this content and it just is gone now? Like,
this is gonna be a nightmare, dude. This is nightmarish.
Yeah, I can't see how selling the content off to somebody else makes you more money in the long term than having that in your library in perpetuity.
I think it's a short-term fix. I think it's like a short-term, we can make money right now.
And then what?
And they don't think long-term because even
in 10 years, like 5 years, 2 years?
I mean, Paramount is shooting itself in the foot when they sold licensing streaming rights of their big hit Yellowstone to Peacock. That's why we're getting all of the Paramount Plus, like, sequels, 1883, 1942, 2016, like, it's like all those numbers. Those are all spin-offs because they don't own Yellowstone for streaming. It's on Peacock. So, like, speaking of Yellowstone, speaking of Paramount, you're probably thinking, well, if they're getting rid of all these shows, they're going to need something on their service. Don't you worry. They got something to get you back, some IP. The company has ordered a prequel to the serial killer series Dexter and exploring a backstory series on compelling characters like John Lithgow's Trinity Killer. These 2 series are in addition to a second season of the Dexter reboot series New Blood, which would follow the adventures of Dexter's son Harrison. So we got 3 Dexter series going on over there. Before I get John's thoughts on this, I'm not making this next one up, but Showtime is also planning up to 4 series connected to Billions. There's going to be spin-offs set in Miami, London. There's also iterations with the titles of Millions.
I know. I was going to say that. No.
It sounds like an Onion title, but it really is real. Millions, Trillions, Billions Miami, Billions London. Yes. Why are they going all in on Billions? Why? Why?
Oh man.
It's insane. You're giving away the content that's yours, and then you're taking other content that works and diluting it so far. Like, what are you gonna have after this except for like a soupy pool of like half shows that are loosely connected together? Like, you're talking about doing a Dexter prequel with exploring some of the famous killers from this show. How are you ever going to do that and combine it with Dexter?
Well, those are 2. Yeah. Because you got one that it's about the Trinity Killer. Then you have one about college-age Dexter, which will it be Michael C. Hall in a wig again like they did in the original series?
I mean,
but like,
it would look dumb if it was somebody else. So what are you going to do? Like,
because that's the other thing. Dexter is Michael C. Hall. Michael C. Hall is Dexter. Like, that's the show. Yes. And like, I don't want to watch. I watched Dexter New Blood. I am not watching a show with the actor they had as Harrison. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. God. So it's like, what do they expect from this? And the idea of 4, like, I feel like the Billions was a kind of pop culture zeitgeist thing. Maybe like seasons 2, 3, when Damian Lewis was there with Paul Giamatti. Is anybody wanting 4 spin-offs of Billions now?
But, I mean, this is what Showtime does. I mean, they do it with their own original series that they have. They just milk it dry till, everyone hates it, or like, oh man, it really went downhill after season whatever. Choose your own season. But this is what Showtime does with their content. And I just want to say, going back to the Arrested Development thing, I think it could be one of those things where maybe Netflix doesn't think people are coming to Netflix for Arrested Development anymore, and maybe the viewership is low. They figure they can sell this to another service, and that service can use it as a bargaining chip
I don't
to
know,
bring
like,
people in.
Yeah, because they can sell, I guess, seasons 4 and 5, but I don't know. They can't sell 1 through 3 because they don't own 1 through 3. So it's like, it's very confusing.
That's like the one case where this kind of almost makes sense to me, where if whoever owns the rights to 1 through 4 is like, hey, we want to buy those off your hands, and Netflix is like, oh, they're not doing great because we don't consistently have the first 4.
But they don't have those.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, so this makes sense to get that content all together so people are interested in it and get that money. But that's no one's going into season 4. Like, you know what I mean? No one's starting at season 4 and saying, "Oh, good, a new show."
And
like,
that's what Netflix has is season 4
exactly.
and 5.
So that makes
like,
sense
it's very...
for Netflix to get rid of that, but anything else doesn't. Why? Like all the other things we talked about doesn't make sense. So that's I don't know.
Here's what I also want to mention, because like, so with this Billions thing, they have Miami, they have London, they have Millions, they have Trillions. So a show called Millions is about young characters, coming up in the world of finance. That's Millions. They have the London spinoff.
That's industry.
Isn't that just industry, those two shows?
Yeah.
You have two shows doing the work of one on HBO that's already great. So why are you doing two of it? Like, I don't...
Yeah.
You gotta have a crossover episode.
I guess. But yeah, so look forward to when we get to discuss Billions Miami, Billions London, Millions, Trillions, Gazillions.
Gazillions, yeah.
Also, who's going to be in Trillions? There's not that many trillionaires. But okay.
Trillions.
One last thing to kind of talk about, because we're kind of talking about CBS, Paramount, the whole thing. We finally know which host will be filling in after James Corden steps down from The Late Late Show. No host, because there's not going to be The Late Late Show anymore. Pour one out for The Late Late Show. End of an era, Kyle. Are you sad to see it go?
I stopped watching, so no.
When did you stop watching? Was it the old host before this one?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
He killed it.
I see what you did there.
He killed it.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But yeah, after almost 3 decades, The Late Late Show is coming to a close because CBS is actually eyeing the Comedy Central series At Midnight to take over the 12:30 a.m. spot after The Late Show. I gotta like, the show is called At Midnight. Like, you're airing it at 12:30. Like, I feel like that's a mistake, but that's a whole other nitpick.
Also, on broadcast television, you're gonna have like, I mean, I just feel like the comedy's gonna be tamer than you would on Comedy Central at midnight, and then or whatever's happening. So I don't know. I saw a few episodes of At Midnight, and I think it gives a good opportunity for comics to like showcase what they can do. But it just feels like it would be tamed down from what it could be. I don't know. Maybe they could do something with it. I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, really, I think this is all just like a budget move, because the game show is going to be a lot cheaper to produce. Yeah. Especially if it's a half hour versus the hour. The original was hosted by Chris Hardwick. It doesn't look like Hardwick is going to be involved with this, but Stephen Colbert will be an executive producer on it. And the Deadline was saying how The Late Late Show right now is costing about $60 million a year to make.
Wow.
They want that number to be closer to like 35. So they're pretty much, they want to cut that in half, because not that many people are watching late night TV, and with all this movement in late night TV, with Jimmy Kimmel a few years ago moving from whatever he was at, I think he was at midnight to 11:30. Now it's just Seth Meyers in that 12:30 spot holding down the fort. That's it. So that's crazy. End of an era.
Yeah.
Pour one out for The Late Late Show, and for all those interns that have worked there throughout the years.
Yes, especially that. Yes.
Yeah. All right. We had a lot to catch up on. We could finally talk about last night's big event. In order to talk about it, we have to go back, so send us back.
We're back, baby!
Gotta get back in time.
All right, we're talking about Super Bowl LVII, or 57. Let's see, it was last night, February 12th on Fox. We saw the game between the Kansas City Chiefs with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chiefs won 38-35. Spoiler alert. We'll talk about the halftime show. We'll talk about commercials, but first, I guess we'll talk about the game for a second. Kyle, sports.
Sports ball.
How was the game?
I mean, it was a fine game. It was pretty high scoring. Not a lot of defense happening in the first half, but it was entertaining. I didn't like there was a call at the end of the game that really impacted the game.
I heard about that, yeah.
It was a holding call on the pass. And I mean, I guess I could see why they called it, but I don't agree with it. I think they could have let it go, and then, you know, it would have made the game longer, but it would have been nice to see them go in overtime and really kind of battle it out from there. Because that call really changed the game. So
yeah, because it was towards the end, right? Were they in the overtime, or was it just?
No, it was in the fourth quarter, but it was on a third down play. So if they don't make that call, I think it was on a third down play. So if they don't make that call, I think the Chiefs end up having to kick a field goal, and then that gives more time for the Eagles to do something. And they made the call, and then the Chiefs were able to just run down the clock and kick a short field goal. So it really it gave the game for the Chiefs pretty much. And I just think with how the rest of the game went, it was like an anticlimactic moment for something that could have been really good. And, you know, some people are saying, yeah, it was a hold for sure. And I was just like, I really could have gone either way. I think it was a bad call at the time.
Well, I have no takes on the call at that point. I was already in the Uber away from the Super Bowl party on the way home. So I have nothing to say about that. But I was there for the halftime show. And we could talk about that for a minute here. We have Rihanna for the halftime show this year. We got about like 12 songs all jammed in there, starting with Bitch Better Have My Money and ending with Diamonds. So I guess I'll ask you, Kyle, what did you think of the halftime show?
I thought it was good. A lot of hits, certainly a lot of hits. I'm actually glad that it was just her, because it was I felt like more cohesive throughout, rather than like these like,
let's get 7 people on stage.
Yeah, because last year there was like 5 or 6.
Yeah. So I like that it was all her, and she has a ton of hits. So I mean, it was easily recognizable. I really liked the drone shots. I thought that this whole choreography was really cool, set up for the drone shots they had, and the staging was really interesting. And then the sheer amount of dancers they had made the choreography cool. What I will say is I think this, I wasn't there at the game, but with the drone shots, I felt like it was more for the audience that was watching TV probably than rather what was happening at the stadium, which is fine by me because that's how we were watching it. But it was really cool. Some of the symmetrical shots we have, the staging of it. There was one where we were looking down and we were going up the
that was my favorite
stages,
one.
like the ladder. It was cool.
You kept going up, up, and it was just like this thing goes on forever. It was. The cinematography was really cool with all the drone shots, these giant floating steps, seemingly going on forever. There was like one point where we got like the Euphoria 360 camera flip that was like really cool, then backed up. There was very cool cinematography. And like other than that, I mean, you got obviously like the dancers who were going all out, but there was no like kind of like gimmicks, I feel like, we've seen it in the past, these sets, like the Mirror Room, I remember from last year with like The Weeknd, or 2 years ago, whatever it was. So, but it was like her, and it was her singing, and she did tease a surprise guest, in the interview leading up to the performance. So we're talking about it's a surprise guest. Seemingly, there was no surprise guest. But there was. I guess the surprise was her second child. She is pregnant. So I saw. So that was the big announcement after the fact, because I didn't pick it up really. I mean, there might have been a point where I think she like gestured to her belly, but like I might have missed that, But I did see a lot of folks like wanting a cameo from Tom Holland, because of the Umbrella lip sync battle video, the viral video from that where he was dancing to that. That would have been a moment. That would have been a very big surprise guest. I think Middle America would have been completely lost, not knowing that video, because it'd be like, wait, why is Spider-Man doing this? But that would have been fun. But not this year, unfortunately.
Did you do any bets on what her list, her set list was going to be?
No, I didn't have any bets. I don't know music. But no, I mean, she had a lot of hits, and going through them, it's like, that one, but so that was the halftime show, and we have to now go to commercials. We do this every year, and I feel like I have the same rant every year, and I'll preface this. I understand why companies want the extra clicks before the game when they release these a week or two before the Super Bowl. I understand why they want that. But man, do I hate it. I hate it so much that like I just knew like what was coming. I knew what to expect. I knew which guest stars were going to be there. And like there's so much like it's so much fun just having that element of surprise.
Yeah.
Even like, you know, the surprise trailer drop from Netflix, you know, a few years ago with the Cloverfield Paradox. To be like, "Oh my god, there's a Cloverfield movie? Oh my god, it's like tonight." You can watch it. Sure, it was not a good film, but like it was like still a surprise big moment. All these are like I was expecting, you know, oh, there's gonna be a Breaking Bad one of Popcorners. I was expecting to see that. I was expecting to see multiple Adam Drivers popping up all around. Like it's like okay, like it loses the effect, and I know why, because they got the free clicks and the buzz and news
and
articles
they're paying
being
a ton
promoted.
of money to you know to these actors and everything.
But yeah, just so that's like, and then after all that, you know, okay, maybe I missed a few, and like okay, maybe I'll try to find them now. You can't find them how they aired during the broadcast. They're now all the extended ones.
Yeah.
So I went to look up a few of them, and like okay, for instance, the Scrubs Grease reunion for some reason. I don't know why we're doing these two things.
That did not make sense to me at all. But
it's like okay, let me check this out, and then I click it. 2.5 minutes? No, I'm not watching this.
Yeah.
I'm not watching a 3-minute film that's an ad. No thanks. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
With all that being said, were there any favorites, or were there any that stand out to you guys? John, any favorites here?
Well, it was nice to see the Breaking Bad one. As much as you know, it felt Jesse's lines felt a little forced, but it was still nice to see it. I mean, it was funny. You know, it's a iconic scene. The three of them meeting at the end. You know, that's like peak Breaking Bad almost, and it was nice, but it was still an advertisement. You know,
why didn't they make a joke that like one of the flavors of the 7 was chili pea?
Yeah.
When he's like, oh, we got to do, we have 6 flavors. No, you make it 7, and you have like Jesse saying, oh, it could be chili powder, or like you know something.
Yeah.
Come on.
There were some more opportunities, but. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't upset with that. I like you. I was a little upset to see it before it aired, but you know, otherwise, I thought it was a well done commercial. I mean, all the cinematography and all that was pretty, you know, analogous to the actual show. The pace was a little bit quicker, but you know, it's a commercial. They're paying for every millisecond. But yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. It just sucks because like I knew Will and Jesse were gonna be there. I saw in a still that Tuco was gonna be there. Like it lost the element of surprise for me.
Someone posted the whole commercial like last week. I saw it already, so I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah. What about you, Kyle? Any standouts?
Well, I have some ones that made me scratch my head, but
I got those. I got those coming up too. We can do those in a second.
I like the Ben Stiller Pepsi commercial. I like that one.
See, I had a head scratcher with that one because I liked it, but also it's like okay, so Ben Stiller's acting out like if he, you know, does he like Pepsi or is he acting that he likes Pepsi? What do we know? So we're seeing him doing like different acting jobs, and one of those acting jobs was Zoolander. Zoolander's there now, and it's like okay, that's a fun cameo, but like it felt shoehorned in with all the other things because all the other acting events were completely fake. So I almost would have liked if he did like recreations of some of his other most famous scenes and characters. So then it all was like all his filmography, but instead it was like fake. Oh, Zoolander, fake. It was like it was
that's fair.
And like the whole thing was based on the premise that you're like faking emotions really well. Like I don't know, I get what they're going for. Like oh, you got to try it to see, but like. All it says to me is that like he's being paid to like Pepsi. Like you know what I mean? Like all right. Not gonna make me go try it, dude.
Yeah. And then I liked the Brian Cox one with the Michelob Ultra. That was okay. It was
the Caddyshack.
Yeah, the Caddyshack one. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of nostalgia. There's Caddyshack, Breaking Bad, Clueless.
There was like the Uber one with like the Hathaway song, like Diddy. Yeah.
A lot of nostalgia.
The Grease. The T-Mobile one was weird with Grease because it's like talk about shoehorning in it because those two guys are the spokespeople for T-Mobile, but then it's like we weirdly got John Travolta as well, and now we're singing. It was just a weird.
It's
The
also
cadence didn't work because the words they like shoved in, like,
Yeah.
But I saw What's Up, Nikki? We asked on Instagram, like, oh, what were your favorites? And he said the Blue Moon commercial had unexpectedly funny ending. And it was an interesting one because, so that one is like, it was the whole ad was like a fight between like Coors and Miller Lite, you know, and then at the end, it's like, oh, no, this is actually a Blue Moon ad. And at first I'm like, wow, like, why did they do a commercial with all these like competing beers, you know, like to give them airtime? Nope. They're all in the family.
But
no, it's sad. It's crazy how much, like when you look at beer companies and how they're all under one or two on like major corporations, it's crazy. You think you have a choice. It's like, no, it's all under like one or two. It's wild.
I mean, that's 90% of the things you consume every day. So
pretty much. Yeah.
I've been talking, there hasn't been that many surprises, but I guess the one surprise, at least for millions of people, was, well, they thought their TV was being hijacked by Tubi. I don't know if you guys experienced this.
That was a wild one.
Yeah.
So you're welcome back to the game, and all of a sudden the menu pops up. It scrolls over to the Tubi app, and then you're watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
A lot of people weren't happy.
Didn't they ban like police sirens in like radio talk shows? Why can't they do something similar for like fake hijacking your TV? You know, like that's the kind of stuff that like, all right, I get it. It's kind of cute, but like, don't do that, please. Like,
well, the funny thing is that I think what we were watching, the app crashed, actually crashed at one point. So it was like, something like this could legitimately happen. Yeah, I don't know, you know?
Yeah, what a mess. So there was a lot of stars in these ads. You know, we mentioned a few, but you know, Ben Affleck being caught by Jennifer Lopez working at Dunkin' Donuts. That was funny. Yeah, Will Ferrell being inserted into Netflix shows, Miles Teller dancing, Ozzy Osbourne in The Office. You have a lot of stars. Speaking of stars, that's where I guess another head scratcher I had was the shrunken down John Hamm and Brie Larson in a fridge next to a mayo jar. And
I don't remember this one.
So if you don't get the joke, don't worry. They explain it specifically in the ad. They're like, get it, because Ham, Brie, are in the fridge. Ham, Brie
with mayo,
and then the door opens. Pete Davidson's there. He's making a sandwich. He's there, and then we cut to they're all life size now. They're out of the fridge, and he's eating a sandwich. Oh, you guys taste good. Why is Pete Davidson in this ad? Yeah. Okay, John Hamm, Brie Larson. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Brie, ham, sandwich. But Pete Davidson, why? Like, it's just okay.
Yeah, I don't get that.
They were shrunk, and then they were large. Sometimes these things, because it's a 30-second ad, and then they have to do a 10-minute short film for online only to explain it. But when you cut it down to 30 seconds, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I got another head scratcher.
Also, he decided to make a ham and cheese sandwich when they have like catered like hamburgers and sandwiches at this party. I don't know what's
going on.
What?
I don't know. But maybe they're looking for some food. Maybe some clam, chocolate covered clams or whatever here with the. So Maya Rudolph is the spokesperson for M&M's, and this is what annoys me so much about these ads. They're set up like months ago. These are all just campaigns like that are like, you know, fake viral marketing set back in like December to get this thing going.
Well, the problem is when you have news outlets covering this stuff like it's news, and then they get and now there's a term for it. It's called adjacked, where the M&Ms got free publicity from, you know, this campaign that they conjured up when it's not news at all. They created basically fake news for the ad. I mean, news companies have to stop doing this. They have to stop doing this. Like, let the companies do whatever they do.
But it probably goes back to what John was saying, that I don't know the full history of M&M's and Mars, but like, who owns Mars? Is there a conglomerate that is partnered with that does the news. Because like this was all like this story that came up that like, oh, the M&M candy mascots are they woke? You know, is this going the wrong way?
Yeah.
So we got to retire them. They're no longer a part of this.
Yeah.
No more
Instead, we're going to add in Maya Rudolph. Maya Rudolph is going to take the place of them. And that's where we got this ad. And I guess like we had people visibly disgusted eating M&Ms because I guess in this version she decided to make them chocolate coated clams.
Yeah.
And then, but don't worry, by the end of the broadcast, the M&M people are back. The candies are back. The spokes candies are here.
Stupid.
Bye-bye, Maya Rudolph.
Thank goodness. Oh, we're safe.
Crisis averted. Oh my God. It's just like, come on. It's like, they'd even wait probably till the end of the game. It's just like, surprise. And I hate these type of fake outs. Like we saw it with the Mr. Peanut, the death of the Mr. Peanut.
Yeah.
And the birth of Baby Nut. It's just like,
Yeah, it's stupid.
Speaking of, did you see this year's?
The roast of the peanut. That's terrible. Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
At least it
go
wasn't,
away.
Father Nut or something. Like, they're hopefully done with that.
Yeah, so I guess that Mr. Nut is all grown up, Mr. Peanut here. And so Mr. Peanut is the subject of like a Comedy Central roast here. And there's, of course, the 30-second ad. And I guess you can go online and you can watch the full roast, the full 12-minute roast.
Oh my God.
They spent time and made a 12-minute roast for Mr. Peanut.
Yeah, and I can't believe comedians actually. I mean, well, I can believe it because it's like a bunch of money, but like I can't believe they literally were shilling for this. This is. Ugh.
Yeah. I would say I would have, pulled some of the good jokes, the best lines from this thing. There's no way I'm watching a 12-minute commercial for Mr. Peanut here.
No.
That can be for whoever loses the draft.
Yeah, there you go. I will say two of the lines here that was in the trailer. And this, so I guess these are the best roasts that they have to make it the 30-second Super Bowl ad. Jeff Ross, I'll make this quick, Mr. Peanut. I know you got some brownies to ruin. Natasha Leggero, Mr. Peanut, why are you dressed like it's 5 recessions ago?
Oh my God.
Well, if you have better lines, I guess you can submit them to plantersmadetoberoasted.com and you could win up to $10,000 if you have a better roast.
So they can steal your joke for the next time they do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crowdsourcing.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Any other head scratchers you got, Kyle?
So the U2, with all the stuff that's going on in the news, the U2 one was just like, wait, what? It was just like the timing was so weird,
I wonder like how fast they can because I remember I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about the Bill Murray Groundhog's Day ad they did 2 or 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And supposedly that was shot 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. So I wonder if it's these companies just buy the spot and then this news happened and then it's just quick, let's do this thing and make it topical. But that is a quick turnaround.
Yeah. The other one that I was really, even though it was a commercial, and I'm like, they can't do this in a commercial. The farmer's dog. I thought they were gonna kill the dog.
I don't know if I remember that one.
With the it was about the food, the dog food, but they showed the dog aging with the family over time. But I'm like. The people are aging incredibly far to the point where this dog, I don't know how it's still alive.
Dog's 60 years old.
There's no way this dog stays alive.
They had that Sarah McLachlan parody commercial.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
In the eyes of an angel or whatever.
And the Bradley Cooper one with the mom felt
T-Mobile,
so forced.
Yeah.
Felt really forced.
Yeah. There's so many celebs that do these ads now.
I know, it's great.
Wild.
I mean,
it's a quick payday, but
I was working in that industry, and I think Rob Delaney from Twitter or whatever, he talks about this. He's like, it sucks that all these actors are in these commercials. I mean, it's taken the commercial actor. That's where actors used to get their training and their
because you can also get a national commercial and that could buy you the time to audition for a year because it just keeps playing and playing.
Yep. And now it's all celebrities. They're just as greedy as the corporations. They can never have enough money.
Yeah.
And it's so easy for them. It's just disgusting.
Same thing for all the movies with all the voice actors and celebrities. I mean,
oh, we'll get to that in a second,
I know.
John. Good transition to the movie trailers. We'll talk about this real quick before we go tonight. Of course, they always launch a bunch of movie trailers. We've talked about a few on the pod already this year, but there was a new one for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Fast X, Indiana Jones 5. Those all look like what we've seen. Those are all those films. We got a lot of footage from The Flash. And this is one. I
can't believe this is coming out.
I cannot believe it either. And I'm watching it, and John and I were talking before the show. Some of these effects, I don't know. They look not that good, and it's just like maybe it's the DC of it all. Like maybe it's the color correction. I just can't get on board with what they produce. But the big moment in this is Michael Keaton. He's there as Batman. You know, I'm Batman. He does the voice. He's there, the old costume. Okay, cool. But this feels like so unearned, I feel like, for this like franchise, because like this is their Spider-Man No Way Home. This is their timeline multiverse of madness kind of thing. Marvel's been setting that up for so long. They have all this stuff, but I feel like they're doing it now in just like the Flash movie, just to like do it. And just feels...
We gotta get on board.
Yeah, it's like a copycat. And I'm going to be honest, this whole thing was pretty much two Ezra Millers running around. Yeah. I don't think I need one Ezra Miller at this point with all the issues Ezra is having in real life. I don't know if I can get on board with two causing havoc in the movie. So
yeah, I just don't know how. The only reason I think we think this movie's coming out is because it was already shot a bunch, right? And they've packed so much money into it, because I don't know how this is going on.
And I think they're betting a lot on this as like the future of like the DC brand. Like I don't know if this like restarts something, if it makes it, you know, like whatever. It's a new multiverse now, and now we're setting the stage new for the new reign of like James Gunn and DC and stuff. But boy, yeah. Oh boy. One last one I want to talk about, because we always have to talk about it. The Super Mario Brothers movie. We didn't get a trailer. Instead, they did something I thought was actually, I actually liked it. It was a fake plumbing commercial, and it was using a rap intro that was actually used in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show that ran from 1989 to 1991. So it was like this like callback thing, but it was also like this like fake like low budget commercial with bad acting. Like it was like a fun like, okay, you're making a commercial for the Super Bowl instead of just showing us footage from the movie. I thought it was like a very creative idea. John, what did you think?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, you know, they're marketing it well. I mean, I would not expect anything less from, you know, Nintendo and the companies they're partnered with. So, yeah, it was a nice callback, and I think that maybe they're leaning into that kind of nostalgia a little bit because of people not liking some of the voice acting from what we've seen. So, you know, I saw a lot of people posting online like, oh my God, they did it. Like, it's like, all right, yeah, they are marketing hard. Like, you know.
Well, what's interesting is this ad has a phone number. And if you call that phone number, just like in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, like those phone numbers actually work. And when you get there, you get a voicemail message from Luigi. You get Charlie Day doing Luigi answering the phone. No Chris Pratt, no Mario. We're not hearing that voice on the phone.
Yep.
So they're leaning into Luigi and Charlie Day here instead of Mario, which is a definite conscious choice.
Oh yeah.
So interesting. But all right. We went a little long tonight, but we were off last week. Any last thoughts of the Super Bowl? Anything else? Until we put it to bed and we'll see it next year.
Nope.
For 58, I guess.
We're in overtime. We're done.
We're in overtime. The refs are calling it. We're calling this an episode. That's all we got.
There's a whole holding
week.
Penalty. We're calling it.
Delay a game. Come on, let's go.
That's it. We're gonna be off again next week. We're taking some time in February. It's a crazy time. We've had some big shows with the Super Bowl. We got even a bigger one hopefully coming the end of the month. Oscars. Our Oscar prediction bet, our Oscar prediction special. We're hoping to get the good and the bad and watchable on to predict the 95th Academy Awards coming up in March. So a lot to do. Make sure you are following us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog, doreduncy.com. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/doredundancy. Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern is our normal time. As for the Oscar show, we're still hoping to be 2 Mondays from now, but check Twitter, check Instagram to make sure you know exactly when we are going live with that show. At Doreduncy. Also on social media, TikTok. We just started that up. Been posting some clips on there. It's been a lot of fun, kind of boiling down the big stories of the week on TikTok. All right, guys, I got to thank both of you for joining me tonight, for going a little long. Catching up on some entertainment news, talking about the Super Bowl with me. Couldn't do without you guys. For John, directing the show, putting it up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, YouTube. Couldn't do without you guys.
You?
All right. Until next time, I'm David Allen.
I'm John Berwick.
I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Doreduncy. Goodbye, everybody.